Hi folks, welcome back. It's Will here again, back for another fight card prediction. This time we're going to be breaking down UFC 192, which comes our way October 3rd from the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas, as the UFC light heavyweight title is defended here, as the champion Daniel Cormier faces off against former title challenger Alexander Gustafsson. This card is a phenomenal looking card. I love it from the very first fight of the night all the way through. Prelims are fantastic. A couple of fights maybe shouldn't be in the main card, but I'm not going to complain about them too much. I have my picks for UFC Japan, which are out right now, which takes place in a few days' time. Give that a watch if you can. And so I'm going to be breaking down this one here. And then the next one I'll be doing it will be UFC Dublin. Now, if any Irish guys who are watching this card, I know there's some of you watching because I met some of you in Glasgow. Let me know if you're coming and I will meet up and we'll have a drink while we're over there. It's always great to meet people who have taken the time to watch my videos. So give me a heads up and I'll see you over there. So let's say this card in Houston, great card. Every time they go to Texas, they always put on a really decent card. Last time they were there for a pay-per-view was 185 when we had a new lightweight champion with Jouban and Jacek performed against Carlos Esparza. And just all around good fights on the card. So we're going to start off in the lightweight division. We've got Francisco Trevino facing off against a guy I'm very, very high on in Sage Northcutt. This is a young kid I've been watching for past year, and he's just a really fun guy. I think the UFC are going to make a bit of money off this guy if he turns out to fight as good as I think he could do. He's a pretty decent looking dude. Body of like Adonis of a god, pretty much. He's got everything kind of going his way. He's 5-0 as a pro. If you haven't been watching Legacy FC, I don't watch as much Legacy nowadays as what I used to, but I have caught up in the fights of Sage Northcutt. Last time out he faced Rocky Long, who was a journeyman pro. I think he had 21 wins with like 34 losses with 5 draws. So it was a kind of tailor-made opponent for him to look good in. He came out, he threw a couple of side kicks, had a nice inside trip, comes from a karate base, but his last few fights he's shown his ground game, and before that he faced a guy called Gabe Duhan, and he submitted him via rear naked choke, took him down there, pretty much beat him up any which way he wanted, and eventually got the rear naked choke. In his fight with Long he got a neck crank, and it was a really, really severe neck crank as well. But he comes out, he throws a lot of side kicks, he goes to the body, he goes down low, he's very, very quick, he's a decent grappler as well. He has got a huge step up here. So his last 2 fights have been catchweight fights at like 165. Interesting to see him down here at 155. He's against Francisco Trevino, who's 12-1, coming off his first loss of his career to Johnny Case, where Johnny Case just pretty much beat Trevino up, in all honesty. He's only winning the UFC against Henny Forch. The way I see this fight going, I can see Northcutt coming out. I think he has to try and keep it on his feet. I think Johnny Case had a lot of success on the feet against Trevino and kind of made him look slow. Northcutt, I think if he stays smart in this fight, he should win it. I'm just a little bit kind of wary about him with the change, like the bigger opponent and the better opponent against these kind of journeyman pros that he's been facing. But I do like him. I just think he's going to come through this enough. I think this will be one of the first times he goes to decision. I know he went to decision in the amateurs, so I think this will be Sage Northcutt via a unanimous decision. Heavyweight division with Derrick Lewis against Viktor Pesta. Decent fight here. Derrick Lewis, coming off that loss to Shawn Jordan, came out. I think it was in Louisiana, it was New Orleans, wasn't it, that he fought Shawn Jordan, which was his home state, and he got hit with a big kick. I think he got dropped in that fight, and he got taken out. Viktor Pesta's coming off a very big win himself against Konstantin Arokin, who I thought would absolutely annihilate Viktor Pesta. If you've seen Arokin before his UFC debut, he was a stone cold killer, but Viktor Pesta just put him against the cage, grounded him out, took him down. He's a very athletic heavyweight, and he's a guy to watch out for. I think the way I see this fight going, Lewis is going to come out quick. He's going to come out hard. He's going to want to try and take Pesta out via shots. I can see Pesta, he's got a bit of a good chin on him as well. I think he faced Magomedov in Germany, and he showed a very, very good chin in that fight. And he kept going forward even though he lost the fight, kept going, heart of a lion. I think if he can survive the first 3 to 4 minutes in this fight, it's his fight to win. I think he will take Derrick Lewis down, who's just got terrible takedown defense. And I think he could get a finish in this one as well, Viktor Pesta. I think he needs to show a little bit more aggression. So I'm going to go Viktor Pesta via TKO in the third round. Flyweight division with Chris Cariaso against Sergio Pettis. Good fight, good fight. Chris Cariaso's on a 2-fight skid, lost to the champion Demetrius Johnson, had no, should never have been in there with DJ, faced Henry Cejudo, and Henry Cejudo just made him look like an amateur. Cejudo's grappling was just superior. I think he showed a bit of his striking in that one. No, that was the Kimura fight. He showed his how good a grappler he really is in that fight. Cariaso never had a sniff. Pettis, on the other hand, he's coming off a big knockout loss on that UFC 185 card that I spoke about back earlier on this year in March, I believe it was. Pretty much he was sailing against Ryan Benoit, looking decent on the feet. Then I think he got caught with a huge shot and got taken out. That kind of had an adverse effect on his brother, who fought later on for the title. Anybody that knows me, as I'm Team Pettis, 100% Team Pettis, I always will be. Both great guys. Have had the chance to meet Sergio, but Anthony's just the coolest dude you could ever imagine. Spoke to him in Vegas and it actually made my trip. Close fight though. Cariaso's fighting for his career here pretty much, and Pettis is really fighting to try and have any relevancy in the flyweight division. He really needs to start bucking up his ideas and start coming out the shadow of his brother if he wants to do anything in the sport. He has got the talent, he just needs to start showcasing it. I'm going to go Sergio Pettis. I am a little bit wary of the pick, I will be honest with you. I think Cariaso is a very game veteran who has got a lot of tricks up his sleeve, very tough, he's hard to take out, he's very game as well. So I'm going to go Sergio Pettis via a very close split decision. Next up, I mean this is the Fight Pass cards. I'm not even at the prelims yet. This is a great card. Islam Machachev against Adriano Martins. Machachev, last time he came out, he looked fantastic against Leo Kuntz. He's obviously from Dagestan. He's got that grappling background. He trains with Khabib Nurmagomedov, rolls with him all the time. So he's a great grappler. He's got that Sambo background. I think, if I remember right, I watched this fight earlier on. I've totally forgot about it. But I think he stopped Leo Kuntz via submission, if I remember right. Looks just a decent prospect in that lightweight division. That lightweight division is going to be the best division for the next 2 to 3 years. I've no doubt about it. He faces off against Adriano Martins here, a jiu-jitsu guy who's coming off a split decision win over Ruslan Khabilov at the Brazil card in Porto Alegre this year. Very close fight. I can see both guys winning this fight. I think that they're both fairly even on the feet. I think when it goes to the ground, they'll negate one another a little bit. But I think Makhachev's is, if he can keep Martins on his back and be very smart and savvy about passing guard and keeping himself active, I think he can eke out a decision here. So I'm going to go Makhachev via decision. First fight on the Fox Sports 1 card, we have Rose Namajunas against Angela Hill. Namajunas was supposed to face Nina Ansarov before she pulled out. She was ill the day before the fight at the weigh-ins. I believe it was after the weighed-in, possibly. Namajunas, she came out, she looked fantastic. She was the star on the tough show without any shadow of a doubt. She's got great striking, Muay Thai striking, kickboxing striking. She's very aggressive. I said in the fight with Ansarov that I think if she could have won that fight against Carla Esparza. I thoroughly believe that if she didn't scurry through the fight and she was just hurrying herself through that fight and taking no time to be patient. I think if she shows a little bit of patience, she can go a long way in the sport. So she's got a 2-2 record. She's actually coming off a 2-fight losing streak. Tisha Torres handled her pretty easily in Invicta, and then she had that fight with Carla Esparza. Angela Hill is another one who got wrestle fucked by Tisha Torres down in Mexico. Tisha Torres literally just laying her like a blanket the whole fight. Hill being the green pro that she is, still got a long way to go in her grappling. She's a very aggressive striker. So this will be interesting to see how this fight goes with both girls standing on their feet. I think that Hill probably has the... Namajunas is probably the more dynamic striker, where Hill is possibly just a tad heavier handed with the kicks and stuff like that. I think this is going to take place mostly on the feet, I believe, but if Rose Namajunas goes to the ground, she's got some beautiful arm bars down in there. We've seen that with flying arm bars back in the day. So I like Rose Namajunas, and I think she can get a late finish in this one, so I'm going to go third round submission for Rose Namajunas. Another fantastic fight here. We've got Alan Jouban against Albert Tumenov. Wow, this is a great fight. See, Jouban's coming off that win against Matt Dwyer, where he actually got dropped in that fight, showed a little bit of heart, kept going and won a very close fight. He says that's the kind of fights he wants, and I believe he'll get this fight here against Albert Tumenov as well. Tumenov is coming off that win over Nicholas Masoki. He beat Matt Dwyer via a brutal head kick, and it's just, both these guys look great prospects for the welterweight division. I think Albert Tumenov is further ahead than what Alan Jouban is. I think he probably hits a little bit harder. And now we've seen that Alan Jouban has been dropped, I think Albert Tumenov will be looking at that thinking, I can do this here, I can really take out Alan Jouban here. If he was to take out Alan Jouban, it'd be a big statement, it'd be a big push forward in the division, taking out a guy who is, Alan Jouban's going to beat decent fighters in that division. I thoroughly believe that. Tumenov had that win over Nico Masoki back in Sweden, used a beautiful jab, had great in and out strikes, was very quick with his hands as well, and showed good takedown defense as well. He got put against the cage late in that fight, kept on the feet, and won a very good decision there in Sweden. So I'm going to go Albert Tumenov. I think a lot of people will go for a decision in this one. I think Tumenov could catch him here, and I think he could do it early as well. If Jouban's too aggressive, I think that Tumenov could catch him. So I'm going to go Tumenov. It's a bit like a Hail Mary, this one, with a first round TKO. Featherweight division, another good fight. A fight I'm looking forward to seeing. Yair Rodriguez, the tough Latino America winner, against Dan Hooker. See, Dan Hooker's coming off a very impressive win of his own. He knocked out Hatsuyoki, the only guy to ever knock out Hatsuyoki, and he's fought a lot of good fighters as Hayoki. Hit him with a beautiful head kick, followed up with punches, and that was the end of Hatsuyoki in the UFC. Yair Rodriguez had a fight the night performance against Charles Rosa. It was just an all-action fight. Both guys just thoroughly deserved the bonus that they got that night. They put on a hell of a fight. Rodriguez looks so green, but you can see the potential in this guy. I think he lives in Chicago. He goes to Jackson Winklejohns in New Mexico, and you can see, I think every time we see this guy for probably the next year, we're going to see new strings to his bow, and new talents that he's going to show. So I think Dan Hooker has a decent matchup here, but I think Yair Rodriguez is better than him in every way, shape or form in this fight. I like Yair Rodriguez. I like him by TKO. I'm going to go second round. And the main event of the prelims, we have a flyweight encounter between Joseph Benavidez against the returning Ali Bagautinov. Bagautinov last faced Demetrius Johnson. Didn't really show too much that we haven't really seen from DJ. He tried to be aggressive, but just DJ was so fast and hit him and got away, stopped the takedowns, and I think he popped for something. I'm not sure what he popped. He did pop something because he got a year ban. So that was, I think it was April last year that happened. So he's been out for a while, or June last year, sorry. So he's been out a while. I just don't see where Bagautinov really going to hurt Benavidez here, unless he catches him with a big shot. We've seen that Benavidez can be taken out with one shot via DJ. I just think that Benavidez is he's the clear number 2 fighter in that division with Cejudo, but he's already lost to DJ twice, and you can't really make that matchup unless he clears everybody else out. So Joseph Benavidez, I think if it goes to the ground, if he's on top, he can possibly get a submission. We know the alpha male guys have got great submissions with chokes especially. Bagautinov, if he gets down there, he could cause Benavidez some problems, but I just don't think he will. I think Joseph Benavidez is going to ride the decision out all day long. Yeah, I'm going to go Joseph Benavidez for a very unanimous decision there, so I think he'll win it fairly convincingly. Moving on to the main card, we have women's bantamweight action between Jessica Evil Eye against Julianna Pena, the Venezuelan vixen. A little bit. Oh, sorry, something's popped up in here. There we go. My apologies. I think this is too quick a turnaround for Jessica Eye. I think she is. I just think she's coming into this. She took a pretty hard beating against Miesha Tate back in Chicago in late July. She's jumping straight back into this fight here. She got hurt on her feet in that fight, and once she got put in the ground, Miesha Tate just handled her with ease, and Jessica Eye had absolutely nothing for Miesha Tate. Julianna Pena is another one of these fighters that once she gets you down there, she will get to full mount and she will beat your ass. I think on the feet, Jessica Eye's got an advantage. As aggressive as Pena is, she could hurt Pena on the feet, hurt Eye on the feet as well. But I can just see the first round being very close. I can probably see Jessica Eye maybe taking the first round, stopping takedowns, but eventually she's going to get put against the cage and she's going to get taken down. I think Julianna Pena can definitely win this fight and definitely stop this fight. I think she'll probably be the favourite in this fight as well. I like Julianna Pena. I think she can stop the fight as well now. She can stop Jessica Eye. Miesha Tate couldn't do it, but I think the relentlessness, there we go, of Julianna Pena, I think she could most definitely stop this fight. And if she was to stop Jessica Eye, that's a big feather in her cap, and really does move herself up that division to possibly get a title shot within maybe one more fight if she was to do that. And then she's facing Ronda Rousey. And I think she can give Ronda Rousey some problems. I definitely think she can. So I'm going to go Julianna Pena. I'm going to go a third round. No, I'm going to go a late second round submission for Julianna Pena. Heavyweight division, great fight. Shawn Jordan against Ruslan Magomedov. When I was talking to Shawn Jordan in Vegas in July, this was one of the guys he thought he might end up fighting here. Magomedov had come back from his injury that he sustained. And both guys, I think, are on 2-fight win streaks. If my mind serves me correct, don't kind of quote me on that. He did look great against Derrick Lewis, got that finish. He beat Jared Cannonier, I think it was the fight for that. So I think both guys are on 2-fight win streaks. Magomedov, he's got Pesta. I can't remember who he won his last fight, but I know he did. He trains out at AKA. A very tough fighter. I think this is going to be a very close fight. I think both guys can. Shawn Jordan's got the more knockout power. I think that Ruslan Magomedov is just the all-around probably better fighter, I believe. Not by much, but I think he's just all-around a better fighter. I think he's a bit more fight savvy, a bit smarter in there as well. If he can stay away from the power shots of Shawn Jordan, I believe he can win the fight. I'm going to go a very close decision for Ruslan Magomedov, but I'm not confident in that pick whatsoever. Next up, we have Ryan Bader facing off against the former UFC light heavyweight champion Sugar Rashad Evans in a fight that I've never been the biggest Rashad Evans fan, but I think it's great to see him back because that UFC light heavyweight division most definitely needs him. See, the last time Rashad Evans fought was November 16th, 2003 against Chael Sonnen. That's a long time. UFC 167. Won that via a first round TKO. He just beat Chael's ass. Got a split decision victory. I mean, this guy's only fought 2 times in nearly 2.5 years. That's crazy. Dan Henderson. He got that split decision at UFC 161. Ryan Bader is a guy who's on a bit of a streak himself. He was wanting that Daniel Cormier match and never got it. Coming off, he's on a 3-fight win streak, 4-fight win streak. Sorry, he beat Anthony Perosh via unanimous decision. He beat Rafael Cavalcante in a fight that I actually picked Cavalcante. I thought Feijão would trouble him. Farthest thing from the truth. Oven St. Preux got decision, and then won a split decision against the new Bellator kind of #1 contender, Phil Davis. How I see this fight going, I just think it's all about the rustiness that Rashad Evans shows. I think on the feet, Rashad Evans has some more power. I think Bader's clearly got I think he's got the reach advantage. Speed advantage I give to Rashad Evans. I've been going back and forward on this. I would love. Every time I pick a Ryan Bader fight, I always get it wrong. Every single one. So I'm looking at this, and I think that Ryan Bader just has enough tools to possibly stop takedown, have enough in the feet. But I'm no way whatsoever happy with the pick. I'm just not sure. I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to go Ryan Bader via a very close split decision, but Rashad Evans is jumping out at me for some reason, but I'm going to stick with Ryan Bader. Co-main event in the welterweight division, we have Johny Hendricks against Tyron Woodley. Another story from Vegas back in the summer. We're at the pool party. Both his wives were there, and these guys were like great. These guys were in each other's company for literally about 3 hours. Drinking beers and eating loads of food and just talking stories about the wrestling past. I think overheard them talk about, and more of the wrestling stories have kind of come out. They faced each other in the past, and Hendricks I think did something dirty, or somebody did something dirty back in the wrestling days. Woodley got pissed off with that. Always nice to see fighters do that, but now they've got the fight on. Great to see Tyron Woodley back. He's coming off that win over Kelvin Gastelum back. Was that January this year? Holy shit, I can't believe that's how quick that's went. Johny Hendricks beat Matt Brown at UFC 185. Personally think that Johny Hendricks needs to fight a little bit more and stop eating. He, to be honest with you, in Vegas, he looked fat. He didn't look like a middleweight. He was stood next to a light heavyweight, sorry. He was stood next to Shawn Jordan, and Shawn Jordan's a big guy, big bulky guy, and you would have thought that Johny Hendricks was a heavyweight as well, with the way his stomach looked. It was kind of crazy to see. I like Tyron Woodley in this fight. I think he's got enough. I think he's dangerous. I actually think he's more dangerous on the feet now than Johny Hendricks, and that's saying something, because a few years ago Johny Hendricks was a knockout machine, and if anything landed that he threw with that with the punches that he was throwing, you were hitting the deck and you were out, just like John Fitch and other opponents before that. But I think Tyron Woodley is he's just a bit quicker. I think he keeps the pace a little bit longer than what Johny Hendricks does. This fight goes into the second round. It could get a little bit sloppy, but I like Tyron Woodley in this fight. I think it's going to be very close. Johny Hendricks a tough guy to beat, especially in Texas. He might get the hometown decision. I'm going to go Tyron Woodley via a decision. Not very confident in the pick yet again from Bader and Evans, but I like Tyron Woodley. I feel like Tyron Woodley, we need some fresh meat up in that division for challenging for the title. I like Tyron Woodley for this. So, and plus he's been training at Rufus Sport as well. I speak to Mike Rhodes quite a bit, and he's saying he's been looking great. So Tyron Woodley for me. Hopefully we see some more improved striking from him as well. And the main event of the night, we have Daniel DC Cormier against Alexander the Mauler Gustafsson. This is a great fight, and I think a lot of people are really underestimating Alexander Gustafsson in this. And I'm not saying this because I've never been the biggest fan of Gustafsson, but I do support the European fighters as much as I can. I don't think he beat John Jones in that fight a couple of years back in September. In fact, that was 2 years ago as well. I think it was very close, but I thought that John Jones won that fight. You ask pretty much anybody around Europe, they think that Alexander Gustafsson at local cards will say that Gus won that fight. I thought Jones won the fight, and I'm a Jones fanboy, but I think he did win the fight. Very close one though. See, Daniel Cormier is making it look his first defence of his title here. He beat who did he beat? Sorry, Anthony Johnson. He beat Anthony Johnson last time. He took a huge shot in that fight. Took it like a champ. I couldn't believe he got back up from it. He literally got hit. He rolled over and he kept on going, which I thought was brilliant. Wore Rumble down, took him down to the ground and submitted him. I actually thought he looked fantastic after that first round. But I think Alexander Gustafsson's got all the tools here to really harm Daniel Cormier and give him some problems. We've seen Cormier against Jon Jones now. I know there was a lot of hatred between those two guys, and they didn't like each other. And I think that had something to play in it. If that fight happened again, I think it'd be a little bit different as well. But Alexander Gustafsson gave Jon Jones problems, big problems, took Jon Jones down, hurt him with his length as well. Gustafsson's got the clear length advantage over Daniel Cormier here. If he can show that takedown defense he showed against Jon Jones, this fight is going to be very competitive. Either that or Daniel Cormier is just going to literally push Daniel Cormier against the cage like he did against Frank Mir, and just keep him there, pepper him shots, do enough to get the rounds, and get enough to get the decisions. How do I see this fight going? A couple of weeks ago you asked me I would have picked Alexander Gustafsson. I really do want to pick him. I think he's got a fantastic chance to win this fight. I'll be looking at the odds and I'll be seeing what the odds are, and I might actually put some money down on Alexander Gustafsson because I think he's got as good a chance as anybody else in that division, not named Jon Jones. But I'm going to go in my head and I'm going to go Daniel Cormier via very maybe 49-46, 48-47, 49-46 for Daniel Cormier to retain his title. So say that's my picks for UFC 192. Watch that card. Come follow me on Twitter, WillMartin7MMA. I'm always there for chatting MMA, always talking about the sport. If you want to play counter move, I play counter move every kind of UFC event. If you want in the games, let me know. And just go follow the guys that put out great content week in, week out. I've already spoke about them before. Severe MMA, Kingdom MMA do some great work for British MMA as well, European MMA, but more specifically British MMA. Then you've got Daniel Levy, you've got Flying Brian, you've got the Parton Shot Boys. Please just go give them a follow. Nick MMA Jr. They're all putting out great content, so go support those guys. Follow them on here, please, if you can. Follow them on Twitter. You'll get a lot of knowledge from these guys, and you get a lot of great podcasts and shows throughout the week, which adds to just a great fight card that we get at the end of that week. So please go follow those guys. I'll be back for UFC Dublin, which I can't wait to go over there for. I love the Irish people, love Dublin, it's a great city. I'll see many of my friends over there as well. Please take care, please enjoy the show when this comes round on October the 3rd, and I'll be back probably in a week or two for UFC Dublin, Poirier versus Duffy. Thanks again.